On the eve of getting the marriage certificate with Ryan, his ex-girlfriend posted a video of herself drunk on her WeChat Moments. It's been 10 years of going around in circles. If I say I regret it, will you appear in front of me? I've just realized that the person I still love is you. I had full confidence that Ryan wouldn't be that despicable. But he took the ring he bought for me and flew there. After receiving the confession video of Ryan and Stella that my best friend intercepted from the WeChat Moments, I asked for leave from the film crew and went home to pack my things overnight. Ryan wasn't at home, so I had enough time to silently pack my things. 5 years. More than 1,000 days and nights. I never realized that I was so good at buying things. Adding so many items that belonged to me to his house, from the pomegranate flower body wash that I liked the most during washing, to the equipment I usually used when practicing martial arts. It took me almost 3 hours to pack all my things in cardboard boxes. One box was stacked on top of another, piled high against the wall by the door in the living room. The fastest moving company said that they could only work during the daytime after accepting the order, and the earliest time would be 7 o'clock in the morning the next day. But I couldn't wait. As soon as my things were packed, I wanted to leave this place that I had once regarded as our marital home. I didn't want to stay here and suffer while waiting for Ryan to show up for even a second. He betrayed me. When I was covered in dust, rolling on the rough sandy ground, and having real hand-to-hand combat with men to perform martial arts scenes, with bruises all over my body, I tried to have a video call with him during the lunch break. It wasn't that I wanted to tell him about my grievances, but I just wanted him to know that I was doing my best to be with him. However, Ryan hung up on my video request. While I was stunned, he replied to me inferently, "Which martial arts actor isn't tired? Since you want to stand side by side with me, you have to stay professional." Enduring the pain and the fullness of grievances in my heart, I lay on the simple hotel bed, reaching out to rub safflower oil on my back by myself, and counting down the days to go home and see Ryan over and over again with my fingers. I missed him so much. I even dreamed of the scene when I came back to be with him. When he picked me up at the airport, I would definitely give him a big hug and bury my head in his arms to act Kokafisvi. My mind was full of the future with Ryan. But the reality was that he hid it from me. Stood up the film crew, and flew overnight to Stella's home abroad. He accompanied her to drink, listened to her pour out her heart, and regardless of the proud image he had a favored one of heaven built up in the entertainment industry and the marriage contract we had already set, he responded to her confession in the WeChat Moments. He completely forgot. He couldn't remember at all how painful and embarrassed he was when Stella left him without a word for money and chose to marry a wealthy foreigner. And he had begged Stella not to leave. He also forgot all the efforts I had made to help him get out of this failed relationship. I gave up my stable job in a public institution in my hometown, stepped into the entertainment industry that I knew nothing about alone, took care of his daily life for 5 years, accompanied him in acting, and helped him get out of the trough and the haze. He has always had a very bad memory, and the only person he has always cared about is Stella. After packing my things, I sat in Ryan's house all night. After crying for a while, I couldn't shed any more tears. I suddenly felt that it was so boring. Ryan has a bad memory. But am I also suffering from dementia like him? He is despicable, repeatedly betraying his own principles and bottom line for Stella. And being a forgetful simp, I have a good memory, am petty and hold grudges. I clearly remember everything I have done for him. The more he fawns over Stella, the more sorry I feel for myself. And I think I'm a fool. So, why should I continue to torture myself for him? At 7 o'clock the next morning, the moving company came to move the things. I sent a message to Ryan, "My things are already packed. Since you've made up your mind to marry her, I'll make room for you too." After sending the message, I blocked his phone number and deleted all the accounts associated with him. Anyway, having fulfilled my obsession, I can't compete with Stella. I don't have another 5 years to wholeheartedly stay by his side without caring about gains and losses. Just so that he can look back at me when he's sad. The love that is begged for has no sweetness at all. And it will only make me always worry about him being taken away by Stella. Feeling anxious about gains and losses. This time, I'm the one who doesn't want him anymore. After moving all the things to the newly rented place, I rushed back to the film crew without stopping and got into the intense shooting. I don't want a man who is dirty. But I can't give up my career and sense of responsibility. Moreover, I need this good payment for the film to help me save for a down payment in this city. Even if it's just a small one-bedroom apartment. It can end my state of being adrift and help me embrace myself better. Without Ryan, I want to live a better life and love myself more. I didn't expect Ryan to find my film crew. On the 4th day after I broke up with him, he seemed to realize belatedly that he still had a legitimate fiancé, and that his fiancé was angry and needed to be coaxed. So, for the first time, he appeared at our filming base with a bouquet of roses. Unfortunately, heading for Feltley, I was in the hospital at that time and didn't get to see such an affectionate scene of Ryan. An hour before Ryan arrived at the filming base, I was distracted during the martial arts scene with the actor Cedric, who played the villainous big boss in the drama, and was accidentally scratched on the face by Cedric's prop long sword. Cedric personally drove me to the hospital. By the time we finished getting bandaged and came back, it was already afternoon. Xiao Yuo, the makeup artist girl who has a good relationship with me, told me the news that Ryan was looking for me and also reminded me with a smile, Ryan was waiting for me in my room. How could he have my room card? I've already broken up with him completely. I felt a tingling sensation on my scalp immediately. Because I was resistant to meeting Ryan again. I even thought about calling the police. Xiao Yuo coughed in surprise. He said there was a misunderstanding between you two and that he must explain it clearly in person. Everyone saw his serious attitude. And since he has already risen to the 2nd or 3rd tier and is in a great period of career development, but he is willing to take the initiative to expose his relationship with you to us. We thought we'd give him a chance. And maybe it could lead to your reconciliation. I was speechless. Too angry to say anything. For a moment, the string of reason in my mind snapped. And I wanted to directly post about Ryan's affair with Stella on the IBO and in the workgroup with the film crew, so that everyone could know Ryan's true face. However, I finally held back my impulse. I still didn't want to act so unseemly. After all, he was someone I once liked. Once such negative news was exposed, his stardom would surely be damaged. But Ryan was pestering me. And I couldn't go back to rest at all. The following work would definitely be hindered. What on earth did he want? I let him go. But he wanted to completely mess up my life? When I was feeling irritated, Xiao Yuo carefully reminded me when she saw this. If you really don't want to get back together with him, why don't you find a man in our film crew to act with you? What? Cedric. Her finger reached out to my face, touched my wound, and whispered with a hint of envy in her eyes. She pursed her lips and motioned for me to look to the left. He has looked at you several times. Why don't you ask him and see if he can help you? Consider it as repaying the favor for what happened in the morning. Fortunately, hadn't fulfilled his prop wasn't rusty. Otherwise, what would you do with your pretty little face? I was stunned for a moment, thinking that Xiao Yuo didn't have good eyesight. How could a big shot like Cedric secretly look at me? Ryan was already complacent and thought he was at the peak of his popularity when he barely rose to the 2nd or 3rd tier. Cedric, on the other hand, was truly at the peak. He became a top star as soon as he debuted. He is only 25 years old now. Although he is young, he has great talent in acting. He returned to China to develop at the age of 19. And in just 6 years, he has won 2 Best Actor awards and 1 Best Actor in a TV Drama award. If there is any shortcoming of this big shot, it is his personality. He is indifferent to others and only has strong emotions when he is acting. He also has a very serious cleanliness habit and usually doesn't let people get too close to him. Except when filming. He will restrain his emotions, overcome his disgust, and immerse himself in the role. Other social interactions and favors are just useless burdens to him. Although these characteristics make him a bit of an outsider in the entertainment industry where ambiguous transactions are common. But because of his high appearance value and mysterious family background, he has a large number of mother fans and career fans who love him. After all, I have a clear understanding of my own situation. If it wasn't for the fact that Cedric scratched me in the morning and felt guilty and took me to the hospital, My interaction with him would actually be no more than Xiao Yuo's. I didn't want to play along with Xiao Yuo's teasing. But she forced me to turn my head back. When I turned around, Cedric's handsome face with distinct features came into my view. When his long and narrow black eyes met mine, we were both stunned for a moment. Damn. He was really staring at me. I quickly shifted my gaze, pretending that I had just casually glanced over. But Cedric raised his long eyebrows and walked directly towards me. Oops. Here he comes. You talk to him yourself. Hurry up. Zhao Yuo patted my shoulder and disappeared without a trace. While I was still in a daze, a tall figure had already stopped in front of me. Up close, Cedric was incredibly handsome. Under his thick and long black eyelashes, his eyes were as bright as a starry sea, making my heart skip a beat when I met his gaze. I turned my face away to avoid his gaze. But he glanced at my wound instead and said in a deep voice, "Did she wash her hands before touching you?" Huh? The doctor said in the morning that you can't touch a wound randomly. There are bacteria. And it will leave a scar. I was stunned for a moment, thinking that this big shot was really meddling too much. Compared with his previous attitude, this was completely breaking his character setting. I wanted to find an excuse to leave. But Cedric bent down and got closer to me on his own. In his clear and cold eyes, my nervous appearance was reflected. "I'll help you drive Ryan away." I looked up at Cedric in surprise. He curved his lips at me, as an apology. "I'm sorry about what happened in the morning." My mind went blank for a moment. When I came to my senses, I forced a smile. No. After all, it was my own fault that my skills weren't up to par and I was too slow to dodge. So I got scratched by you. In the morning scene, as the second female lead, I was rescuing the male lead from the execution ground and fought with the Imperial Commissioner played by Cedric. The two of us were locked in a fierce battle and chased each other from the execution ground all the way to the cliff. Cedric stabbed me off the cliff with a sword. In the scene of jumping off the cliff, I could have dodged his long sword, but coincidentally, a stream of heat suddenly gushed out from under me when I jumped. My usually irregular period unexpectedly arrived at such a crucial moment without any warning. My body paused for a moment, and I was injured on the cheek by Cedric's prop. So, it was really my own fault. After declining Cedric, I took a 2-hour leave from the film crew and chose to return to the hotel alone to deal with my personal affairs. Ryan was sitting on the sofa directly opposite the door of my room. Hearing the sound of the door opening, he raised his eyes and looked at me. Whether it was intentional or not, his gaze glanced at the head of the bed, as if reminding me to look at the bouquet of roses he had deliberately placed there. Under the bouquet of flowers was the pure cotton pillowcase that I had specially brought from home. At this moment, the middle of the white pillowcase was stained with a patch of water stains, wet and damp, which made my heart feel stuffy and depressed. Ryan probably thought that I should happily accept this bouquet of flowers. After all, this was the first time he had given me such a romantic gift in the 5 years since we had established a romantic relationship. He didn't know that the fist hanging by my side was already slightly clenched, and I was so tired in my heart that I didn't want to speak at all. I'm allergic to roses and have a slight case of cleanliness. When I first moved in with him, I cautiously reminded him, "I'm a bit special. I'm allergic to roses specifically. I'll break out in rashes all over my body if I come into contact with roses or anything containing rose extracts. Even taking anti-allergy medicine won't relieve it, and it can be so serious that I need to go to the hospital for an IV drip. So in the future, if he wanted to coax me or give me gifts during festivals, he should exclude anything with rose ingredients first." At that time, Ryan looked at me with a bit of surprise. When I was secretly worried and blaming myself for being a troublemaker, he hugged me in his arms affectionately and said that he would keep it in mind and wouldn't let me get into a dangerous situation. But what was the result? Now, in order to apologize and get back together with me, he gave me roses? My long silence made Ryan a bit flustered. He called my name in a low voice, strode towards me with the bouquet of flowers, and wanted to hand the flowers to me. I sidestepped to avoid him, widened the gap of the door behind me, and made way. "Take your flowers and leave this room," I said. "Daphne." Ryan stopped half a meter in front of me. He lifted his eyes. And there was a look of disbelief in his eyes as he questioned me. Why don't you listen to me explain to you when I go home? This is all just a misunderstanding. Stop being angry. Okay? I looked straight at him. If Ryan had just forgotten my reminder. Or because it was too hasty and he asked his assistant to order the flowers, I wouldn't have been so sad and choked with anger. But I remembered that there was an Excel spreadsheet he had specially made in the online file collection of his QQ. The latest update of its content was 3 months ago. It listed everything that Stella liked and disliked, from as small as what flavor of ice cream Stella liked and which brand of sanitary napkin she was allergic to as big as where she wanted to settle down in the future and where she wanted to travel. He remembered so much about his ex-girlfriend who had already married someone else. And he even tried to find out her recent situation from Stella's friends. But for me, he didn't even bother to pretend to care. He actually had the nerve to ask me to stop making trouble, as if I was the one always causing problems. I sneered sarcastically at the corner of my mouth, ignoring the deep sense of loss welling up in my heart. Just think of it as me being tired of it. I don't want to be with you anymore. Please put down the room card and leave immediately. Daphne. Ryan angrily threw away the roses and firmly grabbed my wrist. His tone was full of disappointment. You said before that no matter what, you wouldn't leave me. Are you going to deceive me? This thing is not at all what you think. I went to find her just because she needed help, and only I could give her that help. Let go. I frowned and tried to pull my hand away. The position of my wrist probably touched the rose juice that had just flowed onto his hand, and it was very itchy and painful. But Ryan kept chattering, telling me the details of his meeting with Stella. He said that he left the film crew and me to find Stella because Stella couldn't bear the domestic violence and wanted to find someone to sue her husband for divorce. Her Chinese husband had a powerful family in the local area, and no one could provide her with help, so she could only call Ryan overseas for help. The situation was too urgent, and I didn't have time to discuss it with you, Ryan said seriously. His tone was as if I was being unreasonable and making a fuss if I couldn't forgive him sensibly. I didn't want to endure it anymore. I kicked him hard in the knee. When he let go of me in pain, I wiped my wrist and reminded him word by word, Ryan. Are you her father or her son? Why do you have to cover for her and clean up her mess every time? Didn't she make the choice to marry that husband by herself when she was an adult? Did anyone force her at knife point? Ryan's face turned pale. I smiled. Or have you forgotten the time when she dumped you? And when you went to her for an explanation of the breakup, she leaned in the arms of that old man and coldly watched you being beaten by a group of bodyguards. Ryan's face darkened immediately, and a flash of pain and panic flashed in his eyes as if his embarrassing past had suddenly been exposed. I stopped talking and completely made way beside me. After Ryan left, I kept rinsing my wrist with cold water in the bathroom, trying to relieve the itchy pain of the allergy, and also trying to let the coldness of the water completely calm down my irritable and depressed heart. Just before I closed the door, Ryan struggled and asked me, if I swear that I will never meet Stella again, and I just want to marry you, can you get back together with me? I was silent for a moment and asked him to swear with his future stardom that there was not a trace of Stella in his heart. Ryan hesitated. After I closed the door, I couldn't help but shed tears. I knew that Ryan dreamed of standing on the peak of the mountain and becoming a superstar. That was what he cared about the most. So he didn't dare to take the risk. But he dared to gamble with my whole life without any psychological burden. I realized that I really didn't have the slightest bit of love for him anymore. After the allergy on my hand was temporarily relieved, I tidied up my embarrassed state and rushed back to the filming set before the afternoon shooting started. The scenes in the afternoon were very difficult. It was a psychological game scene where the supporting female character I played turned black because she discovered that she was a substitute for the male lead's first love. The male lead seemed to be nice to her, but in fact, he was trying to flatter and destroy her to make a stepping stone for his first love. It was a great test of emotions. Because I had just had a fight with Ryan, I entered the state of the supporting female character very quickly, and almost passed the shot in one take. We finished filming early that day. Zhao Yuo stopped me mysteriously when I was about to return to the hotel. Sister. I know I was wrong about what happened this morning. I shook my head. It's nothing. It's already been solved. Shed. Ryan actually didn't leave. I found that his nanny car is parked in the square. Do you want to give him a hard blow and completely make him give up? She showed me the photo she took of the nanny car. Through the half-lowered car window, Ryan's frowning side face was revealed. I lowered my eyes inferently. Don't tell me anything about him anymore. Maybe he also has a drama being filmed here. Without work. He will leave soon. Zhao Enyu bit her lip in disbelief. But I think he's ready to fight a long and bitter love battle with you. Are you sure we don't want to persuade him to leave now? I was actually quite surprised and asked her, why do you think he wants to get back together with me? This was also a point that I couldn't figure out after calming down. Ryan was a proud person. And there were countless women who loved him. He really didn't need to hit a dead end with me. Even though there were a few years of affection between us, I wasn't so conceited as to think that he would abandon his pride for me. Zhao Enyu took on the attitude of someone who had been there. And stuck out her tongue distaphonially. Men are like this. When you fawn over them, which one of them cherishes you? When you leave, they can't forget you and desperately give you a glorified image. In the end, it's all just to satisfy their possessiveness. Although I haven't worked with Ryan, I guess his intention is to chase you back and then dump you harshly. Anyway, he's not a good match. I was amused by her assertion and nodded in agreement. So, don't tell me any more news about him. I'll stay away from this scumbag. But, Zhao Enyu hesitated to speak. I waved my hand at her, eager to rush back to the hotel as soon as possible. Although the allergy on my wrist had subsided, other parts of my body were itchy. I had to go back and check the situation of my whole body allergy. The film crew was located in a mountain village. And there was no direct hospital nearby where I could consult a dermatologist. If the allergy was severe, I would have to find a way to ask the director for leave and borrow a car from someone in the crew to go to the hospital in the county town. When I returned to my residence and saw the red spot spreading from my neck down my body in the mirror, my heart skipped a beat. The situation was more serious than I thought. I don't know if it was the effect of my psychological suggestion, but I felt that the red spots were also starting to spread on my face. I panicked. Before asking the director and the others, I took a chance and asked for help in the group, who is medicine for skin allergies. Urgently needed online. I wanted to take some medicine first to suppress the symptoms, lest the doctor say it was a severe case when I got to the hospital and asked me to be hospitalized, which would delay my work even more. I don't know if it was because I had little influence or because I asked during everyone's meal time, but after waiting for a few minutes, no one replied to me. I put down my phone disappointedly. Unexpectedly, hadn't fulfilled what I say. The phone rang. It was a strange number showing as an overseas call. I thought it was a harassing call and impatiently pressed the reject button several times, but it was persistent. Just before I blocked it, Zhao Enyu replied to me on WeChat in the group and sent a photo of the medicine. I have the medicine here. But I dare to give it to you only if the doctor has prescribed it for you before. I thanked her. It's okay. I remember taking it before. She said oh, and said she would come to find me. I let out a sigh of relief. While waiting for her, that call came again. This time, I hesitated for a moment and tried to answer it. Who is this? It's me. Come down. I'll drive you to the hospital. It was Cedric's voice. Hoarse and obviously filled with worry. Damn it. This was the call that I had cut off 7 or 8 times. My heart skipped a beat. Although it was strange, I still didn't have any other thoughts. I just regarded him as being loyal. I said to Cedric apologetically, thank you. My little sister is already bringing me the medicine. He said, I'm standing right at the entrance of your hotel. Daphne, can you be more responsible for yourself? I thought your state was not right in the afternoon. No. Pack your clothes and come out. I've already made an appointment with an emergency doctor for you. Perhaps because I felt guilty for refusing Cedric's kindness several times. Or maybe I was intimidated by his stern tone. I paused and agreed. Before going out, I called Zhao Enyu apologetically, don't come. I'm already going to the hospital in someone else's car. Is it Cedric? On the other end of the phone, Zhao and Yuo seemed to have known it already and didn't show any surprise at all. I was surprised. How did you know? When asked about this, Zhao and Yuo perked up and said enviously. I don't usually have the habit of checking the group chat after work. It was him who asked his assistant to call me and ask where there were medicines to relieve allergies nearby. That's how I saw your help request in the group. I didn't expect that he still wasn't at ease and came to you himself. Do you think he really likes you? I'd never seen Cedric act like this towards a girl before. I was at a loss and subconsciously denied it. Impossible. He is just enthusiastic and loyal. Come on. Sylvia, the female lead in our drama, joined the crew with investment just for him. But Cedric didn't even bother to give her a glance. He'd rather play the role of the second male lead. But for you, he not only rehearsed the scenes with you, but also drove you to the hospital. He took care of everything personally. You have no idea how jealous the other girls in the crew are. Daphne. He is really different towards you. What else could this be if not love? I was taken aback. After thinking about it carefully, it seemed that Cedric was indeed a bit special to me. Glancing at the tall figure at the corner on the first floor, I quickly apologized to Zhao and Yuo in a low voice and hung up the phone. I don't know if it was because we had just discussed Cedric, but the closer I got to him, the more nervous and uneasy I became. He was leaning against the wooden escalator on the first floor, staring intently at the phone screen. He was wearing a casual dark sports sweatshirt. His hair seemed to have just been washed, and he ran out without drying it much. The blue-purple streaks of hair on his forehead were a bit wet, but this didn't detract from his handsome and outstanding appearance. Cedric? I called him shyly. When he saw me, his lazy leaning posture straightened up instantly. He held the phone in the palm of his left hand and waved at me. Let's go. Not so fast. I pointed at his hair and said worriedly. Dry your hair before we leave. It's easy to catch a cold in autumn. Cedric didn't care at all and arched his eyebrows at me. I'm a guy. My body is naturally better than yours. Your illness is more urgent. If you don't believe me, see if my hand is much warmer than yours. As he said this, he grabbed my hand. My palm was suddenly wrapped in his astonishingly warm and large hand. And my heart skipped a beat. After realizing it, I stiffly tried to pull my hand back, but I embarrassingly found that Cedric's ears were red, and there was a slight layer of sweat on his palm. He seemed to be even more nervous than me. This made me very nervous too. My mind went blank, and I forgot to struggle. I let Cedric pull me to his car. After getting in the car, Cedric let go of me and seemed to be explaining his previous behavior. Is a man's hand temperature much higher than you thought? We are naturally more resistant to cold than girls. I nodded awkwardly. I'm not ignorant of this common sense. Over the years, I've also had male partners I could hold hands with, but Ryan only allowed me to hold his arm, more hold hands with him in private. In public, he not only pretended not to know me but also deliberately kept a distance from me, saying that he needed to maintain his golden bachelor image to keep attracting fans. But Cedric directly grabbed my hand several times in public, as if he wasn't afraid at all of rumors spreading about me and him or ruining his golden bachelor image. Why was that? I wanted to ask, but I also felt that my focus was not right. I actually regarded his kindness as a vulgar feeling between a man and a woman, and it was really hard to say it out loud. After holding it in for a while, when Cedric started the car, I don't know if it was my illusion, but I always felt that there was a gaze faintly following me. When I looked back, there was only a lonely street lamp on the roadside, and there was no one there. Cedric thought something was wrong with me, so he turned off the engine and leaned closer to adjust the seat belt behind my shoulder. Is it too tight and uncomfortable? We were so close that I could clearly smell the fragrance on Cedric's body after his shower. It turned out to be the sweet and fruity aroma of my favorite pomegranate body wash. Huh? Cedric looked at me with concern. I slowed down my breathing, shook my head, and said it was okay. I just thought I had had the illusion twice. After arriving at the hospital, I realized that the situation was worse than I had expected. The doctor said that because my body hadn't been exposed to allergens for a long time, my ability to resist the allergic factors of roses had decreased. Moreover, Years of working in 3 shifts and having a bad eating habit had led to a weak immune system. That's why I had a strong rejection reaction after coming into contact with someone who had touched roses today. This situation required hospitalization for at least 3 days. Worried about my work, I asked the doctor to give me an intravenous drip for one night first, and then prescribed some medicine. I planned to go back tomorrow and control the symptoms with the medicine. As long as there were no rashes on my face, I should be able to hold on until after the filming was completed and then be hospitalized for a detailed recuperation. This angered Cedric. He frowned and pressed his hand heavily on my shoulder. Daphne. My red and swollen and embarrassed face was reflected in Cedric's deep black eyes. Be a good girl and take good care of your body. I'll coordinate with the crew and the director. We can shoot your scenes at a separate time. Don't play around with your own body. Looking at the obvious worry between his eyebrows. For no reason, Zhao Yuo's affirmative speculation popped up in my mind. Daphne. Cedric must like you. He is cold to everyone else. But he is different only towards you. Could this be true? Afraid that if I endured it any longer, I would completely ruin my body. I nodded and agreed to Cedric's suggestion to accept hospitalization treatment. As for the work and the crew, thanks to him, the director gave me a week off and told me to stay in the hospital until I was completely recovered before going back. During my recuperation, Cedric came every day. No matter how late it was. He would come to stay with me at night and then doctor back at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning the next day. When he wasn't there during the day, he arranged for the private nurse he hired to adjust my diet and take care of me. For this reason, a nurse sister who made the rounds couldn't help but tease. Your boyfriend is really great. He's so handsome. Just like the big star Cedric. He takes care of you patiently and meticulously. You must treat him well. At first, when she said this, I would awkwardly explain that he was my kind colleague, not my boyfriend. But every time I explained like this, I would be teased by the nurse sister and the doctors, who laughed at me for being humble brag. They said they could tell the difference between a colleague and a boyfriend. Over time, I became numb. Anyway, having fulfilled my say, Cedric wasn't present, so I let them say whatever they wanted. Until an embarrassing situation that made me want to die of shame happened on the day I was discharged from the hospital. The cause was that when the nurse sister was helping me pack my things, she asked me, "Did your boyfriend say he would come at 11 o'clock? I softly hummed and didn't correct her statement. All I could remember in my mind was that Cedric said he would come to pick me up at 11 o'clock. Who would have known that Cedric came so early that day? He arrived at 10:15. Coincidentally, the time he entered the door happened to be when I was blushing and tacitly admitting that I was the rival and love of hundreds of millions of girls. Daphne. I turned around in a daze. An inconceivable smile appeared on Cedric's lips. Are you all packed? I'm here to pick you up for discharge. My face turned bright red, and I almost wanted to ascend to the sky on the spot and escape from the earth in a second. This was terrible. Did he hear everything? In the car on the way back, Cedric drove with the corners of his mouth raised, seemingly in a very good mood. After much hesitation, I still apologized in a low voice. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let them spread rumors like that, which affected your personal image. But I promise, they just thought you looked like Cedric. As long as you, and I firmly deny it, others won't spread rumors about us. Cedric turned his head and looked at me. The smile on his lips disappeared, and his eyes became dark and unreadable. I didn't know if he was joking or serious when he asked me, "Do you really not want to be with me? Am I not as good as Ryan? Or do you still have feelings for him in your heart?" My heart tightened, and my mind went numb for a moment. Finally, having so failed, I mustered up the courage to ask him, "Cedric, do you like me?" The car fell silent. I could only hear the intense thumping of my own heart. Cedric slowly parked the car in a safe area and rolled down the car window. Outside the window was a sea of purple lavender. He turned his head and his gaze landed on my face leisurely, with a feeling in his eyes that I wanted to run away from. "Daphne, if I say yes, would you be willing to give me the chance to take care of you?" He asked very calmly, as if he was just casually asking me if I wanted to eat dinner together at night. If it weren't for the fact that his ears were still red, I would have thought he was playing a huge joke on me. Cedric. My heart was slightly stunned. I wanted to ask him what was so good about me. We had only known each other for such a short time. And he wanted to be with me. This was too dreamy and absurd. But what blurted out was my refusal after much hesitation. It's not suitable, Cedric. I'm really grateful for your many times of taking care of me. But I have more important things to do. I don't want to fall in love anymore. Do you not want to be with me? Or do you not want to be with anyone for now? Cedric asked seriously. I lowered my eyelashes, afraid that he would see my confusion and helplessness, and vowed, I don't want to be with anyone. All I want to do now is focus on my career. He softly, Hamedan suddenly smiled. Then I'll wait. When you want to fall in love, I'll cut in line. My mood was a bit complicated. I thought. Don't wait for me. There will be no result. Falling in love with a man will only affect the speed at which I draw my sword. But facing Cedric, I really couldn't say it out loud. I could only pretend to be sleepy, close my eyes, and tell him that I wanted to take a nap. Not continuing this topic, Cedric quietly drove me back to my place. In the following days, when Cedric and I rehearsed the scenes, we had a high level of tacit understanding in the play, but our private communication was even more indifferent than when we first met. I thought that although he said he didn't care, he actually still cared that I had rejected him and made him feel embarrassed and rebuffed. I felt a bit melancholy, but I knew that talking to him further would be of no benefit to either of us. So, since he ignored me, I just pretended that we had never had any interaction. Time passed quickly. On the eve of the crew's completion of filming, after much consideration, I still wrote a thank you letter. I wanted to hand it to Cedric in person before we went our separate ways, and untie the knot in each other's hearts. But Cedric disappeared. The director was vague about his whereabouts, only saying that Cedric had encountered some official business that he had to deal with. The next day, I found out what Cedric was facing and had to deal with. His manager, Brother RUI, came to me. It turned out that on the eve of the completion of our drama, some media people used several borrowed position photos of me and Cedric chatting in the corner of the theater and me sitting in Cedric's car with him adjusting my seat belt to fabricate the rumor that Cedric and I were in an underground relationship and he accompanied me for a prenatal checkup. They also hired a large number of online water army to spread it on the internet. Then an anonymous person claiming to be from the industry exposed my past relationship with Ryan and guided the public opinion, saying that they guessed blindly that Cedric was a homerfecker, who took the place of Ryan, or that I had a loose moral character. They said that seeing that Cedric was more promising than Ryan, I dumped Ryan. Cedric's diehard fans were furious, and there was a huge uproar of arguing on the internet. When Juguang Media, where Cedric worked, received the photos, they summoned Cedric back immediately and asked him to cooperate with the company to make a clarification. Cedric agreed to make the explanation himself, but he didn't want his company to find me to prove my innocence as the female party. He was afraid that it would cause psychological pressure on me, and that I would be targeted and besieged by irrational fans. Cedric's manager was so angry with Cedric's stubbornness that he privately came to me and hoped that I could cooperate with them. Daphne. Cedric is young and doesn't understand that in this industry, things are not just black and white. Although fans support and love him because of his works, they can also spurn and step on him because of a malicious rumor. I know that asking you to come forward to make a clarification will inevitably bring up the unpleasantness between you and your ex-boyfriend, making you reopen old wounds and suffer a great deal. However, this is related to the future development of you and Cedric. I still hope that you can bravely stand up. How do you need me to clarify? I will cooperate with you right now. This matter has nothing to do with him. He was implicated by me. I asked. When Brother RUI said that Cedric was facing the online storm alone, my heart had already tightened. Can I directly record a clarification vlog and post it only? Brother RUI glanced at me inferiorly, furrowed his brows and told me, this matter is not just as simple as a clarification. We have found out that the capital promoting the negative news about Cedric is Xingyao Media. Xingyao Media? Yes, having fulfilled Wade Sash. This is the company where your ex-boyfriend Ryan works. I was slightly taken aback. Ryan? In my heart, I didn't want to believe that Ryan would do such a despicable and absurd thing. In order to besiege the rival company, he would also drag down his ex-girlfriend. But when I thought about the biggest beneficiary after this incident fermented, I fell silent. Seeing that I was silent and didn't speak, "Brother, are you?" I couldn't help frowning. If Daphne can prove that this is the doing of Ryan and his people, then the negative attacks against Cedric and you will be difficult to stand. If you don't believe what I said, you can ask Ryan for verification yourself. He must have been involved in this matter. In front of him, I called Ryan, turned on the speakerphone and recording. "Hello." I clenched my phone tightly. To my surprise, the person who answered the phone was not Ryan. The female voice on the other end of the phone was soft and delicate, and it sounded a bit familiar. "Stella?" I asked in a trance. "Who are you?" "Oh, are you Daphne? What do you want with Ryan?" As if to prove Ryan's love for her, Stella added shyly. "He was worried that I would be afraid of the dark when I was alone at home, so he came back to accompany me to bed as soon as he finished filming." Stella had actually returned to the country and was living with Ryan. Then what was his intention in pestering me? Did he want to have 2 women for one man? Or did he want to stabilize me and wait until he was sure that I wouldn't expose his infidelity before dumping me? I felt disgusted, and my voice turned cold. I asked Stella to pass on a message to Ryan. "Tell Ryan that if the negative posts on the internet slandering Cedric as the third party are not deleted today, I will release the evidence of your two's infidelity. If he wants to step on Cedric to get ahead, I will make him go to hell first." Daphne. After a few noises, the voice on the other end of the phone suddenly became Ryan's. His voice was low and heavy, revealing a strong sense of disappointment. "Are you serious? You're treating me like this because of him?" I clenched my palm tightly. "You were the one who first asked someone to take pictures of me and Cedric. Do you dare to say that those fabricated things on the internet were not posted with your permission?" He paused for a moment in his breathing. "Well, but it's not entirely true. I can't control how others speculate." I was too lazy to listen to his excuses and directly asked him why he was so despicable when Cedric had no enmity with him. Ryan seemed to be irritated by my questioning and sneered. "I'm despicable? He's the truly shameless one. He clearly knew that I had said in your film crew that you were my woman. Yet he still had the nerve to show his affection for you. If it weren't for the people I sent to keep watch on you who took pictures of him picking you up and sending you to the hospital several times, I wouldn't have known that you broke up with me because you climbed onto Cedric's high branch. Daphne, you're really cheap." After hearing these words, I completely believed that this matter was deliberately caused by Ryan out of jealousy. His viciousness and pettiness exceeded my imagination. I told him coldly, "First, I have already broken up with you. When you and Stella were being shameless, I was no longer in a relationship with you. Second, I went to the hospital with Cedric twice in total. Once was because he accidentally scratched my face, and the other time was because I had a recurrence of my rose allergy caused by you and almost died on the film crew." "Ryan, stop immediately and apologize to him, or I will do what I say and make you die together." "Daphne," Ryan growled angrily, "you've only been with him for a few days, and you're already siding with him." Oh, I took a breath and ignored his anger. "I will also hand over the audio recording of our conversation to the police. Those who maliciously fabricate rumors and cause serious negative impacts on others will be imprisoned." "You?" I hung up the phone. "Brother, are you?" I probably didn't expect me to be so decisive. He looked at me in surprise. After a while, he praised me. "Daphne, you have great courage. Don't worry. After this matter of Cedric is over, if your acting career encounters obstacles, come to our Zhuguang Media. We have a film and television subsidiary company under our name, which can provide you with job opportunities." I thanked him softly. My heart was still in suspense. I didn't know if Ryan would compromise after weighing the pros and cons and take the initiative to eliminate the negative impact on Cedric on the internet. Fortunately, Haninfo felt Ryan's sigh. I bet right. He finally compromised for the sake of his future. Ryan posted a short essay about our breakup on the internet. Pretending to be calm, he told everyone, "I fell in love with Daphne when we were in university. Due to our busy schedules and different values, We chose to part ways peacefully. We have been broken up for 2 months. Although Daphne and I can no longer continue our relationship, we will still be the best of friends in the future. I give her all my blessings and hope that everyone can understand and take care of her. As for Mr. Zou's relationship with her, it's not as everyone has spread. At that time, she had an allergic reaction on the film crew. When she asked me for help, I couldn't arrive in time because it was too far away. So I specifically called Mr. Zhou, without a low sigh, who was also on the film crew, and asked him to help me send Daphne to the hospital. That's why they were photographed by someone with ulterior motives, causing everyone to have a misunderstanding. Let's just forget about it. When I saw this short essay, I thought it was very ridiculous. Ryan was truly the most shameless among the boys I knew. He specifically stated that the time of our breakup was before I joined the film crew. He also deliberately downplayed the reason for our breakup by saying that we were apart for a long time. It not only met my minimum requirement for him to clarify, but also enhanced his moral image. Really, he was so shameless that I didn't know what to say. However, as long as Cedric was no longer involved, I wouldn't be too aggressive and urge him to state all the facts if he explained it to everyone in this way. After all, I don't like to put my feelings in front of the public and let others comment on them. That's what I thought. So I tried to smooth things over by liking and reposting Ryan's short essay and wrote, "In the rest of my life, don't look back and keep moving forward." I myself wrote and pinned a Weibo post thanking Cedric for his loyalty. In that Weibo post, I attached my medical record from the hospital and shyly encouraged everyone to watch the TV drama that I co-starred with Cedric. This TV drama is scheduled to be released before the Mid-Autumn Festival. After doing all this, I turned off my phone, prepared to wash up and dressed, and see how things developed the next day. If the negative impact on Cedric still didn't subside, then I could only let Ryan reap what he sowed and release the evidence of his previous flirtation and infidelity with Stella, as well as the audio recording of our conversation when he exposed himself to me. After I finished washing up and lay down to rest, I found that there were 3 unread messages on my phone. One was from Weibo, and 2 were from WeChat. The former was from Ryan, and the latter 2 were from Cedric. Ryan couldn't call me or send me a WeChat message because I hadn't removed him from the blacklist. So he privately messaged me on Weibo. He asked me to be satisfied with what I had achieved. He had already fulfilled his promise, and now it was my turn to keep my promise. I turned off Ryan's message in annoyance and clicked on Cedric's profile picture. Cedric sent me a voice call request and a video call request. Both were rejected 10 minutes ago. When I was taking a bath in the bathroom, I hesitated for a moment and called Cedric back via voice call. The moment the call was connected, I heard Cedric sigh on the other end. "Miss Daphne, you didn't have to get involved in this matter. I have a way to resolve it. There's no need to drag you into it." I was speechless for a moment, and my nose felt a bit sour. Cedric paused, and his tone was a bit nervous. "What's wrong? Are you angry?" "I don't mean to blame you. I'm just worried that it will be difficult for you to get out of this situation. After all, you're fighting alone, and there's no particularly strong support behind you. And I have the support of the company. I'm also one of the shareholders of Zhuguang Media. They won't abandon me." He was about to say something else, but I interrupted him. "Cedric, why are you so good to me? Why do you always want to sacrifice for me?" There was no sound on his end. I wiped the wet tears from the corners of my eyes, sniffed, and continued to ask him, "What exactly do you like about me? Why was he always so cautious and gentle with me?" This would make me have the illusion that I was the girl he deeply loved. The more he fawned over Stella, the more I felt sorry for myself and thought I was a fool. Cedric was silent for a long time. I held my breath and clenched the receiver tightly, just as I was about to fall asleep waiting. He let out a slight sigh. "I originally wanted to tell you when you finally achieved your wish and stood on the peak of the mountain in the future." "Huh? Daphne, my liking for you is not a sudden impulse, but a long-planned thing." "What?" I stared in surprise. "Do you still remember Cedric?" "Daphne? You are," my breath caught slightly, stirred by Cedric's words. "Daphne, The memories that had been sealed in my girlhood suddenly became clearer. I wanted to say the name of the little boy who had always followed me closely in my memory. My first love, Cedric. But the little neighbor boy who was as fat as a ball, and extremely introverted and self-deprecating in my memory, was so different from Cedric's current tall, handsome and elegant image. And the names were different too. But Cedric really had no reason to pretend to be a stranger. After hesitating for a long time, I tried to mention a few things that I had done with Cedric when we were children. As if giving a password, Cedric smiled and added many details. After spending the whole night recalling the past events of our youth, I finally confirmed that Cedric was the childhood sweetheart whom I had almost forgotten in the box of my memories due to moving house. Cedric and I were childhood sweethearts. When he was a child, because of being born prematurely, he almost died. His parents fed him all kinds of tonics, which made him both fat and weak. The boys thought he was too fat and were too lazy to play with him. And the girls avoided him even more. Since I couldn't stand seeing him being ostracized, and our parents had a good relationship, I took the initiative to undertake the task of taking care of him and playing with him. Later, when I was in junior high school and he was in the 6th grade of primary school, my family moved to the town to make a living, and he went abroad with his parents. The two families gradually lost all contact completely. I really didn't expect that. As the saying goes, a boy can change a lot as he grows up, and Cedric turned out to be my first love. The little brother from my past. How are your parents? I couldn't help asking. Cedric's parents were very kind to me. Although when I was a child, I publicly refused with a cold face when they jokingly said they wanted me to be their daughter-in-law. They still made delicious snacks for me every day and asked Cedric to share them with me. Cedric chuckled and said, "They are doing well. They called me the day before yesterday to urge me to settle down soon. I told them that I had already found the person I liked. That person is my first love." My face felt a bit hot, and I pretended not to understand. Cedric took a deep breath and said, "Daphne, regarding what you said about having a relationship only after reaching the peak, I really want to cut in line." I bit my lower lip and said, "Really? It's not possible. Honey. We've already recognized our relationship as childhood friends. Even a rabbit doesn't eat the grass by its own burrow." Thinking of how Cedric used to follow closely behind me when he was a little kid, calling me Daphne all the time. And now he wants to change from being a younger brother to a romantic partner. Two words popped into my mind: absurd. This time, Cedric didn't smile. Instead, he asked me in return, "Are you afraid that you won't be able to reach the peak? Or are you afraid that I will hurt you just like Ryan did?" I was silent for a moment and then immediately said, "You are completely different from him. Ryan was extremely selfish. He always took advantage of my love for him and asked me to abandon myself and submit to him. But Cedric has always hoped that I can be myself. He respects me. In that case, sister, please give me a chance to try," Cedric said seriously. "Trying doesn't mean it will definitely work out. Moreover, you already have enough ability to protect yourself. Whether I can be with you in the future or not, I won't obstruct your progress." Facing Cedric's persistence, my heart was pounding, and I couldn't say the words of refusal anymore. After thinking for a while, I said in a low voice, "It might take a long time for me to truly fall in love with you. If you are willing to wait, then I guess it's okay." "Okay. Have a good dream." The end.